Have you ever thought about measuring your success, and if so, how do you measure it?
The Western definition of success is completely different from other parts of the world. So for me, it's kind of like a mixture of both. Have enough money to support and do the essentials in my life, but also have that wisdom from, let's say, the ancient cultures or like previous times.
Peace of mind is over everything.
I unintentionally compare myself to other people.
Yeah.
And it's a really bad thing. I've got to change that.
Do you consider yourselves to be successful?
100%.
It was just interesting to hear his story and to hear him like, he feels like he's failed.
Buying a house when I was growing up, what I thought it was and what it actually is, the actuality is kind of gives me anxiety. Yes, people, my name's David Whiteley. Welcome to The Space, and today we're going to be talking about success.
Success, man. So what it all comes down to, man, that's a big statement. Maybe too big of a statement to start with. I want to know, it's a hard question, do you consider yourselves to be successful?
100%.
Really?
100%.
Right now, today?
Right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Ah, interesting.
For me, I do consider myself very, very successful. Just based on.
No, I'm joking.
No, just based on what I've been through.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think me being able to talk to you guys today in itself is a miracle, and I find that my journey has been, I think, a success story.
Bro, that is too cryptic. You've got to give context, man.
Yeah,
what's the? Give us more.
Let me give you a little something. When a few years ago, I had 3 major brain operations.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you can see the scar. Yeah.
Oh my, I didn't even clock.
It goes all the way round, and I've got a scar here as well.
You pull it off well, bro.
Oh, thank you.
Let's
Man.
get
I fought a tiger or something. But I was on life support. I was on life support. I was in a coma. They gave me a 99% chance that I wasn't going to make it.
That's quite high. That's
It's ridiculous.
You gotta bring that down a bit.
Yeah. Honestly, like there was just so many things going on. It's a long story, but that in itself.
That's a success.
That in itself. No, but honestly, and it was a time where I was trying to figure out my life, where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Don't have any A levels, but I was able to get myself to go to uni, got a master's degree, and now I'm doing my things. You know what I mean? So, for me, it doesn't matter what anyone says. Like for me, I find that my life is a success, and I'm trying to just cherish every moment. And
what led to the brain operation?
Sorry?
What led to the brain operation?
It was major meningitis, sinusitis, a few other blood infections, and there was a lot.
Stuff that men ain't really thinking about.
Yeah. Honestly, that's the thing. Yeah. I started to get symptoms, but I just brushed it off because
we're untouchable.
Yeah. No, as lads, you I ain't going to the hospital, I ain't going to the doctors. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Feel untouchable.
Yeah, no, honestly, a little bit, but it's that kind of stereotype of you don't have to go to the hospital, you just brush it off.
Yeah.
And my dad was the same thing. Me and my dad were just like, it's just nothing.
So you say you're successful now. Where do you see yourself in 10 years time? Like, what does your future bring of success? Bring for you in 10 years, maybe?
I think
5 years.
That's a great question. I think for me, impacting lives. Honestly, I think with what I've been through, and the things that I've been through, even with my family and my personal life story, I feel like it can really help and encourage other people and other lads as well. Because there's a lot of lads, a lot of young people that are, they don't know what they're going to do with their life, or they don't know, but nothing is. I don't think anything is possible if you put your mind to it. You've got the right mentality and you give your all. I think that in itself is success. I don't know.
I think success becomes different when you become a parent as well.
That's a shout.
I'm nodding like I've got kids.
I'm so far away from that right now.
It's interesting though, because it's because you're just generally living for yourself.
Right.
Up until you become a parent, you realise that someone else is in your hands.
Yeah.
And you need to make them successful, if that makes sense.
Right.
So sometimes you can see yourself living vicariously through your child and say, okay, cool, if my child's successful, then maybe
your main priority.
Maybe I'm a success. Do you get what I'm saying?
That's mad. That sounds tricky though.
It can be.
Because you're if they're not successful, does that make you
Yeah,
feel
that
like
failure.
less of a?
I'm telling you, a lot of
gosh.
parents do feel like a failure if their children fail. Do you know
It's
what I
a
mean?
hard one,
You probably had your parents push you. People have their parents push them, and you wonder why. And it's not until you become a parent that you realize why.
You understand.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I
Because
know-
it all
I know
hinges
my-
on this.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Because you're like,
yeah,
you want
yeah.
your
I
children
get
to be
that.
successful. So I think one of the things as a man, I've always said that you don't really know yourself as a man until you have a child.
Yeah.
You don't, because a different part of you comes out. You don't. A lot of the time, you don't even know it exists until you have a child.
Do you think there's anything else that can pull that out of a person?
No, I think you have to go through that. It's like when people say mothers, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
personally think that you can pull it out from like
Loads of
different life experience, loads of different.
I
life
hope so,
experiences.
man. Because if I don't have kids, then I feel like I might.
You'll
just
never be a man.
complete. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
No, I mean, it's an opinion. Do you know what I mean? But I'm saying I know that the fathers
you.
that I'm around, and me, and the fathers that are around, we have these conversations all the time. We're like, okay, we thought it was this, and then we had our
Then
child,
change.
and then it's this.
Yeah.
Do you feel successful?
I feel successful in the fact that I'm able to raise my child.
So it's an aspect of success. It's not overall.
Yeah, it's like I've still got a long way to go, if that makes sense. Like, I think like success is like a pursuit. Like to sit down and say, for me, if I sit down and say, oh, I'm successful, that means like, all right, so what are we doing next? Do you know what I mean? Like, what are you not pursuing?
Yeah,
So
how
it's
long
like,
can you sit in the state of success
exactly.
without
It's like you
progressing?
get to
I get that.
certain milestones. It's like, okay, cool, I've done that now. What's the next kind of
know,
milestone? So for me, success is a pursuit.
Sure, I think if we had this conversation 10 years ago, I think personally for me, I'm a 30-year-old bloke. If I was 20,
Don't look him, man. You look good. Yeah, he looks good. Yeah.
good skincare routine. Good skincare routine, boys. Like, good
You know what
skincare
they
routine.
say? White don't crack.
But so at 20 years old, success for me would be money, cars, all that shit, right? Because that's all you see, and that's for me that would it be. I think the older you get and the more mature you get as an individual, as a gent as well, I think life changes so much, and your inner thoughts is like success isn't all about isn't all about the money and fame and stuff. I think it's about, for me, it's about, I don't know, for maybe more about connections and happiness, and for me, happiness is all about progress. You find something you love and you progress at it every single day and become better and better at it, right? Finding that goal, hopefully one day achieving that goal and fighting to achieve it every single day.
So do you feel successful now?
Look, if it's a hard one, because 5 years ago, if I said to where I am today, I would have dreamed to be where I am today.
Right.
Right.
But I'm the kind of guy who I'll climb the top of a mountain and I'll straight away look at another one and want to climb that one as well.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly in this circle of searching for more and more and more, and it's a real struggle. I really struggle.
sounds exhausting.
I really struggle to sit and be grateful for where I am.
Yeah.
Like the position I'm in my life now, I earn good money. I live in a great apartment. Like I would have dreamed. I've been working for myself now for 5 years.
That's good, man.
Modeling, creating content, working with some amazing brands. I would have where I am now. 5 years ago, I would have dreamed to be where I am.
Yeah.
But
It doesn't,
it doesn't feel like I am, and I'm
success.
always wanting more because
Yeah.
I unintentionally compare myself to other people.
Yeah.
And look, it's a really bad thing. I know I've got to change that, but I think living in London, especially, we're around the top. Oh, not just on. Anyway, I live in London, but I'm surrounded by very high achievers in London.
Yeah.
I train in nice gyms. I'm in Soho House, and everyone there's a part of the top like 1%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I see all these people doing amazing things, and I'm like, oh my god, like,
need to do
why aren't I there yet?
different measure.
Yeah, and it's but I unintentionally,
successful.
but I shouldn't compare myself to people because you know what they always say, like, was it FIFA comparison? Is it,
Thief of joy.
yeah, it's a comparison is a thief of joy, and so it's like I shouldn't be doing that, but I unintentionally do. So if you ask me right now if I'm successful from the outside looking in, yeah, I might be, but deep down in my heart, I feel like I've got more to achieve and more to give.
The real question becomes what
measure?
is your definition of success?
What's yours?
Yeah.
What do you
What
think?
is yours?
What's yours?
What is mine?
Yeah.
So
That's a hard question,
It's
you
so
know.
hard, man.
It's
such a
based
hard-
on just on what you said. It's really hard to, and there's different dynamics. But yeah, go for it,
Yeah,
bro.
so some of us are, like me being myself, I'm in my mid-20s. So, and obviously I've got all of my friends and they think that, obviously, you're talking about it already.
Money,
the
cars.
material, they're thinking about the material and stuff.
Are you up? Your way up, innit?
Nah.
They think it's that, but I know.
I matured a bit more
Right.
quicker than like all the rest. But basically from that, for me, it became more of a mind and was my mind at peace.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Because that's
Mind
a
at-
difficult thing to achieve.
That's a very difficult
Yeah,
thing to achieve.
yeah,
Are you
yeah,
happy in your own life with
Yeah.
what you do, and what you're currently doing? Do you have any regrets? Do you know what I mean? It's all these like different types of factors, rather than just like the material itself. But
there's a pressure for success as well when you're a man. There's a material pressure as a man because a lot of the time you feel like, okay, cool, I'm making this money, but is it enough? It might be enough for you, especially if you've got a family. And that's why I said about this whole success thing. Like when you've got other people that you have to look after, for a single person, you might be successful. Great, but when you've got a family to look after, that money goes quick. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? And it's like, okay, cool, am I successful? Whereas before, when I didn't have a child, it would have been like, yeah, I'm successful. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, there's a lot of pressure, specifically on men, I feel nowadays, to be a quote unquote success financially.
Right.
And for me, what I've learned in my time on this planet is that peace of mind is over everything. For me.
Do you not feel like? Do you not feel like if I see a grown man that doesn't have his life sorted out to a certain way, I do feel a way. I do feel like you're a man. Like there is a certain expectation. Like I might even say it, and I'm just wondering how you guys feel about that. Like as a man, do you feel like there is a certain?
Do you feel that type of way because of your background, perhaps? Because I'm guessing other people maybe.
I grew up poor. So like, it's different. You have to say the word different with the thing that I grew up in Jamaica. I was born in Jamaica.
Right.
But even by Jamaica standards,
it was rough, eh?
Yeah, I'm talking about like getting water from a tank levels for the first few years of my life.
Right.
And then I've come to the UK and everything like that. But I guess I just feel like that because I think us men thinking like an ultimatum type of way. It's like if I don't do it, then what?
No one's
do you never feel? Yeah. Do you understand what I'm saying?
That's the thing. No one's coming to save us as men, and I think that goes back to what you were saying about feeling like you're measuring yourself off someone else, and so it's like you're constantly down on yourself. Because you're like, oh, but I should be where he is. Oh, he's got a Ferrari. I've only got a Range Rover. Damn, I should have a Ferrari. Do you know what I mean? So it's like it's a constant pursuit of success, and I'm saying for me, if your mind isn't at peace during that time, then for me, you're failing.
Can your mind always?
It's trying to be present in where you are today and what you're doing. And like I said to you guys earlier, it was like where I was 5 years ago. I dreamed where I am today, but for some reason in my head, it's just like, oh no, I've got another. You would
have to define what you mean by peace for me, because I feel like we're in an age now. Okay, a couple of you guys here are influencers, right?
Yeah, I do.
Hands up if you're shamefully an influencer.
Yeah, same. I guess so. I guess so.
Yeah.
Can we call it content creator? It sounds a bit more sexy and mature. Is that right?
Yeah, but like it's funny because it's like when I went into influencing, I was not willing to leave my job until I had amassed a certain amount, and then I only went to part time.
Yeah, I did exactly.
You get what I'm saying? So I'm saying like. Because I feel like in today's day and age, we've got a lot of men that they don't want to work, and they're using us as well as examples to not work and to go and
if I do that,
chase my dream. I'm not chasing a dream to the extent where now bills aren't being paid. I don't believe in that. I'll go back to London tomorrow if I have to.
So who here makes content and has some influence?
Yeah, I do.
Everyone here, basically?
I do.
Yeah. What have you done to influence the younger generation? Because if that is what you predominantly do,
yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, and we're talking about success and influence, power, whatever. What are we doing to help the younger generation? What have you guys done to help the younger generation? Because I think you can add that as an element of success, right? I'm not sure what everyone does.
Last year, the last 2 years I spent working in a secure unit for 15 to 18 year olds.
Right.
So that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to influence the next quote unquote generation.
Right.
To some degree. So yeah, for the last 2 years, that's what I done.
Are we saying that success is not getting money then?
It's not just money.
It's not just money. It's not.
I think men are making it sound like it's not money at all.
No. Hey, listen. No. Money's.
Millennials here, right? Yeah. I'm the only Gen Z one on the cast, yeah. So coming from like a mid 20 standpoint, I'm in that transition period in my mind where it goes from material to As
Something else.
Sarah said, yeah, peace of mind.
But you're saying
So,
transition as if it's stuck to being material. I still see material success as a part of success.
100%.
I
No, I
completely
do.
agree with you.
I agree.
I'll be very open with you boys. I'm a very materialistic guy. I like my nice things. I do. I like them. Is it a bad thing? No.
Do you prefer money or power?
Right.
I'd say.
Sounds like
I would say I prefer fame. I would say I prefer fame.
So
You
power.
prefer fame.
I would say I like to be well known.
Why?
You
Power.
like to be
Why?
seen.
Why
I do.
though?
And influence.
No, and have a bit of influence because I feel like if I had more people.
Because money will come after that.
If I had more fame or more power, then I'll be able to help more people.
But are you
Right.
helping
Same
people
with
now?
Yeah,
Are you,
I'd like
are
to
you
think
helping
so.
people
I'd
now?
like to think so. I am. Yeah.
Same with
Okay.
money though.
In
You
what
see,
sense?
I'd like to be known, yeah, as in influence and power. Yeah, I like to be known.
Why is that?
Because in my personal view, I want to be able to influence people.
Yeah.
I want to be able to make people think differently. I want to be able to make people
I
think.
think that's one of the most arrogant things.
100%.
about us as men.
No,
But the
100%
reason why I
it is.
say- No, the aspect of it that I'm saying is arrogant is actually feeling like we've got you feel like you've got the answers.
No, I have an answer. I have an answer, and
Is
I think
it the right-
No, but
I
when I
think
say you have an answer, you feel confident enough about the answer that you have that you want to share it with everybody.
100%. 100%. How else do you have presidents and kings and rulers and X, Y, Z? You have them because those people believe that they can lead a people. Those people believe that they can do right by a people and send them in this direction, whatever the direction it is. And if you don't have that confidence in yourself, then for me, it's like what you're doing.
Is that like a noble thing or is it an ego thing?
It's both. Like for people to act as if like ego doesn't play a part in it would just be disingenuous.
That's ridiculous.
It would be disingenuous. Do you know what I mean?
I think I disagree with that.
Go on.
Yeah, I disagree because I think with making content or whatever, for me, my thing wasn't to be well known. I think you can influence or impact people. I like to use the word impact. I think you can impact people wherever you are, and if that then happens to be scalable or you happen to blow up on socials and whatnot, then it happens. But if it doesn't, does then that mean what you have to say is
Are you saying
invalid?
not one shred of you cared about popularity or the
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
If I went to just 10 followers right now, it wouldn't matter for me. I promise you.
Okay, no, but what
Yeah,
he's not,
yeah,
no, what he's
why?
saying could be,
You're
no,
not
what he's
earning
saying
from
could be
creating
true.
them. You're not
It could be
earning
true.
Why-
But it still wouldn't change the other thing. So if I lose it, that's okay, but that doesn't
Yeah.
mean that I don't want it.
Yeah.
No, it's not. I think you can. I don't think you can either want it or not want it. I think you can just be neutral with it because, as I said, if it was to go, what are my motivations to making the content? Do you know what I mean? Like
To influence, to gain power, to...
no, that's not my
To
motivation.
gain
You do want to gain power.
You sound like a
Listen,
conqueror.
I've always said I'd like to run my own Wakanda. I've always said I'd like to run my own
but
Wakanda
that's
right,
not
and
my
just have
motivation.
influence over people.
So can
That's
I ask
not-
you boys,
that's not my
You boys
motivation.
creating content, or you
100%.
You boys all create content and
Yeah.
stuff. Do you create it for yourself, or do you really create it for your community?
I created for for myself. Honestly, when I started creating content, I'm very introverted in nature.
Okay.
A lot of people think that I'm not, but I wanted to work on my speaking. I wanted to work on that, but also I enjoyed it.
All right, let me ask you a question. If you had $1 billion in your account, but
How do you know my bank account?
but the exchange would be that no one can ever know, and you can never buy anything or show anything that will outwardly express that. Or you could have 10 million and be able to express it as much as you want. Which would you prefer?
I think most people would pick the 10 mil. Most
think they
people would
would?
pick the 10 mil. Some people would genuinely be happy having $1 billion and not being famous whatsoever.
That's me.
Yeah, that's you.
Yeah, because I really want the money so I can do nothing.
And to give me what I said, I don't think that's right in my own head. I hate that I want that. I hate it. Honestly, I don't enjoy that at all.
What, the 10 mil? Or?
No. I hate
that I want 10 mil.
Come on,
good, yeah,
Jim Carrey, he was like, I wish people could all experience the fame. He said,
Yes.
I want people, he goes, it's not all it's
What
banked
you-
up to be.
yeah.
And I just think, for me, when I grew up, I came from a very small village. I came from nothing, right? As a very small, tiny village, nothing existed there. And my first kind of step...
Wait, what, your face is doing something?
Me?
Yeah.
I just said village.
Oh yeah, I'm from a little village in the middle of nowhere.
It's like, it's so white, isn't it?
I was surrounded by sheep in the middle of nowhere, and then I went to university in Leeds, and that was my first kind of step into a city, and I was like, oh my god, this is like big for me. You know, Leeds is tiny, right? And I got involved in club promoting there, and I think I became this kind of so-called big name on campus, and I got to know, and for me that's the best thing I ever did.
And you
because
felt certain.
I felt this, like I was on the door, everyone knew who I was, and I felt this, oh, Will, and I felt a bit of power and a bit of control. And
That's a status thing.
Yeah, it was. And
It's
I-
ego.
And it's ego, and I could look after people, right? And I could look after people, and I was like, oh yeah, people know me. I like this actually, and I'm looking after VIP. All these girls are coming up to me and stuff, and then I look back at now, I think a bit of that has stayed in me a little bit, wanting that from now what I do in London. I want people to come up to me like if I'm walking down the street, I see people, oh mate, I recognise you off YouTube, I recognise you off Instagram, and I'm like, oh, it kind of gives you a bit, oh, I'm doing something right.
But then you have that, but like I said, as a parent, you see, talk about validation. If your child comes up to you and says, Dad, you know what, I really love you, I love that you done that, it's still the validation. It's still the ego, you're like, oh wow, I done good, and they know that I done good, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like,
different.
But I think, I think you're using the word ego loosely.
I think that's a lot to do with like how we, like in the example of children, and like if they do a drawing and they say, look at my drawing, I think sometimes we celebrate the wrong thing. Do you know what I mean? Like we might celebrate, oh, that drawing's so amazing, and stick it on the fridge, and then they think, like their new pathway is, when I do a drawing and it's good, I get praised for it. Rather than asking them, rather than asking,
you nurture their ego,
rather than asking, how did it feel to make that drawing? Like, do you like it? Are you proud of it? What do you want us to do with it? And allowing them to like build that like feeling of success in themselves. But I was really interested in what you were saying, because I wonder, like, if you go back to that village, like when you were growing up, did you view anyone there as successful, or has like your view of success changed so much that all of those people are failures?
So in some sense, I come from a tiny little village, right? Look, my dad had a normal job being a pilot. My mum was a nurse. I grew up with...
Pilot is not a normal
That's not a normal job.
Pilot is like
there's levels to this.
This is it, right? A lot of people would have saw me growing up. I'm one of four. I've got an identical twin and an older sister and an older brother, right? So we always had enough, but not so much and not so little, right? But I always grew up when, look, COVID hits, who's the first people to lose their job? A pilot, right? Because no one can fly anywhere. So I got brought up in a family where my mum was looking after us for some time. So it's on 28 grand a year being a nurse, she didn't get much money, right? So I saw my dad have a good job, but then he could easily lose it. So for me, I was like, I don't want this life. I don't want someone controlling my own life.
Right.
So I was like, I want to escape that village. I want to escape it. So as soon as I got the opportunity to leave to go to university, I went.
But do you think your dad was successful?
Oh, that's a difficult one. He's got, look, if I look at my dad now, I wouldn't want his life in the terms, and not in a bad way. He's got
He's watching
great.
this,
He's got 4 great kids. He's got 4 great kids. He's happy. He's had an amazing life. He's experienced some crazy things.
But that's not success for you.
Yeah, it's not my version. I kind of say that I want to be able to control
your version.
I think my version is different.
You guys
to what
ever
my
heard
parents want,
that statement? Comparison is the killer of joy.
Yeah, we were saying it earlier.
Do you feel successful?
I feel successful. So as I said, like from before, for me it was more about a mind thing, because the money and like the material and the power, there's a certain baseline for that. It will reach a certain point, and then after that point,
what's the point?
What's the
success point with that?
That line for everyone can very, very like.
What is it for you? Without painting up your whole thing.
Well, it's more about like, can I support myself? Can I support my family?
Right.
Do I have enough to just generally do things in life, the essentials and whatever? Maybe socialize a little bit, maybe a bit of this, maybe a bit of that, do my hobbies, and then for the rest of that is, you know, whatever passion you have and whatnot.
Yeah, that's always been my bar.
Yeah.
My bar has always been, can I cover, not even comfortability, but can I cover the minimum that needs to happen is that I can cover my bills. I think it's because I grew up watching my parents having a struggle in that area. I just thought if I can cover my bills, that's why I don't feel comfortable with debt. Like even now I've bought a house. Buying a house when I was growing up, what I thought it was and what it actually is, the actuality is kind of gives me anxiety. It's like I owe the bank mad money. Like if they pulled up for all of the money right now, I'd be like, you know what I mean, kind of thing.
Can I go back to a question you said earlier? Is money bring you success? Because in a weird way, it does for me, because as I was growing up, money was a massive thing in my parents' family. It was always, they were always worrying about money.
Right.
So for me, growing up, it was always like, oh, I need money, but I also see the importance in money. So for me, like, okay, I earn good money, but if I lose a £5, I'm annoyed because I'm like, oh, it's £5. And even though £5 is not the most amount of money, but for me, £5, I know I can do with £5. So I kind of see money is a little bit of success, but it's important.
Is that one of the trappings of the Western world, do you think? Like money?
You know what? I wanted to speak about this before
Is it
because
what's
one of the trappings of the Western world, and I'm not saying that emphatically because I necessarily agree, but it does feel like we've maybe lost like some kind of ancient wisdom. Do you know what I mean?
Correct.
Because
In
what
pursuit
I've been
of
thinking
this.
this whole time
Yeah.
is like these like definitions of success sound very lonely. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like they sound very isolated and like a void of community.
That's such a-
And I think like it's interesting to think that there are like places in the world where like money doesn't exist, but like they trade goods or they trade services.
yeah,
or
yeah.
like
I
indigenous
disagree.
places.
Are you
where
talking about literally
people
the
tend to-
currency?
No. I'm talking about like if you think about like indigenous places, like take Australia for example, where like their work was tending to the land, and the land rewarded them with like
Yes.
food, with shelter, with comfort, like whatever it might
The
be.
land is money.
The land is
form of
is
wealth,
wealth,
yeah.
right?
It's
But like
sustenance,
not wealth in the same way that we have it, where it's
Yeah.
like we can hoard it and we can like
You
save it
no,
and
but
take
you
it and
can.
steal it.
I don't think it's a Western world thing. I
No,
think the
it is,
pursuit
mate.
of.
Have you ever tried? I'm very grateful to say I've done a lot of traveling, mate. I've been to places in like horrible places, like people are poor, mate. They're really poor.
Yeah, but you're thinking about it with your Western brain. Your Western brain.
Seeing
Your
someone on the
Western
streets
brain.
who's still
I was
happiest
born
ever,
in.
got no money.
I was born in Jamaica.
Yeah.
I was born where poverty
He's like, I
happens.
was there.
Yeah, I was there. I'm telling. It's me. I'm telling
Yeah,
you.
but Jamaicans aspire to be like Westerners.
But when you,
Not necessarily.
when did you leave?
Yeah, it's a
How
day
old
of
were you?
spice.
I was 9 when I left, but nine
okay, so you had a
nine
bit-
in Jamaica is like 19.
No, so you had a bit of understanding then. So you kind of saw.
I
it.
had friends that drove to school.
Yeah, you had understanding, which is amazing. That's a good thing. So
nine.
when you were say 6 or 7, were you happy then? I don't know.
I was happy. I was happy because poverty forced us
Into community.
into community.
Yeah.
It forced, but don't get it twisted. I believe people in these countries that are struggling care about success, and I think as somebody that has parents that come from that, they really wanted me to be a doctor, they really wanted me to be a lawyer, and I think that's the testimony of many people that have parents that come from other countries and other cultures.
But then that's the it questions that has the whole world now become influenced by the Western world? Are our standards Western now? Do you know what I'm saying?
Standard, yes.
Your standards are Western,
yes.
so you go
Not
to
100%.
because of the influence that the Western world has. So it's like, oh, okay, there was a time
I think there's a
where
cross.
the standard wasn't Western, but now everyone's standard is Western.
And it's our fault?
Yeah, it is. A lot of-
Influencers?
I'm not, sorry, just to clarify, I'm not one of you. I work for a charity, so this is a super
As he says
interesting
on this show.
conversation. I think it's a super interesting conversation for me though, because I do think like even when we're talking about money, my version of success is like not predicate. Obviously, money in terms of like sufficiency and like being able to pay your bills, live in a place, look after people that you care about, and whatever that kind of stuff is. But like my version of success isn't determined necessarily. Like I think my version of failure might be determined by whether I have enough money in my bank account. But my success is not determined by that.
Can
at
I ask
all.
a question?
Yeah, of course.
Also, you mean
We're-
Western sufficiency?
Yeah.
We're talking about we're talking about success and our versions of success, but like man to man, do you know what I mean? Like this is a really good space. It's a good space to ask. But have you ever thought about measuring your success, and if so, how do you measure it? Because recently I've come across like mood boards and stuff like that, where people at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, we do one of those every year.
See, I never did that, and I never did that. But with those mood boards and whatnot,
Elaborate.
you can,
What's a mood board?
so you can like do like a poster or something on
A vision board.
a vision board. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
a
different
vision board.
images.
It's just a way.
It could be money, it could be family, it could be whatever. Like, what is your version of measuring success? Because we're talking about our versions of this, but what is like
comparison.
Do you know what's
What's Saeed? Sorry, can we go
Sorry,
to
go on.
Saeed?
Yeah,
for a
sorry,
second
go on,
and
Saeed.
then jump in.
I was gonna link it back to his point, right? Going back to the definitions, right? The Western definition of success is completely different from other parts of the world.
Yeah.
Because obviously coming from my home country being Bangladesh, very similar to other third world places as well. When I go back there and I talk to some people, they're happier than me.
Oh, fair.
They're happier than all of us.
Why?
Yeah, because
Yeah,
they've
why?
got their life is simple. All their necessities are met, but that's their version of success.
Yes.
So what's yours?
I'd say it's because I come from two
Two
being
worlds,
born here.
yeah.
Yeah, it's two worlds. So I've seen both. So for me, it's kind of like a mixture of both. Have enough money to support and do the essentials in my life, but also have that wisdom from, you know, I'd say the ancient cultures or like previous times.
And do you feel like you're there now?
Almost.
Bro, I wanted to come over to you because I'm interested in this idea of success. If you had to paint a picture of what success is for you, what would you say it is?
So I'll come onto the comparison a bit later. I'd obviously talked about peace of mind earlier. That is the main thing. That is like the core. Yeah, is are you happy with yourself?
And what does it look like for you to be happy with yourself, like personally?
It was that, as I was saying before, that baseline that you have, right? And then for me, it's are you doing what you like? Are you doing your passion? Are you happy with that? That's what it all stems down to. Because if you're not doing that, then in yourself you just don't feel.
Yeah, you're fresh.
You don't have that buzz. You don't have that.
What about all the
What's
people
the
that are
passion
doing
for
jobs
you?
that they don't like?
But I want to know what the passion is for you.
Okay, so not
Yes.
being an influencer, right? I come from like visual effects and 3D, right? Specifically like with vehicle design.
Is that?
Yeah. So for me, it was always creation.
Okay.
It's very similar to like creating content or like creating anything. You're a creative, yeah. And as a creative, right, you constantly want to you know, make stuff, design things, figure like problem solve. It's any of these sorts of type of things that like make you happy, and that's included directly in my success, right? Aside from all like the money and the baseline, yeah. Because I'm gonna be doing that till late age.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna retire for a long time. So yeah.
Do you know?
Is that what makes you happy though? Is that solely it, or is there anything that is more important than that? So you just describe.
Okay, that's coming from a very self-centered
self.
like perspective. Yeah, obviously caring about other people and how much you know. Yeah.
Do you know what it is? I consult men, right? I do consultancy for men, and what I've come to realize is that a lot of men measure their success on family and whether or not they can take care of their family. And a lot of the men that I consult are going through either divorces, family court situations, breakups, blah, blah, blah. And for me, it's interesting to see a man become less of a man when he feels like he's not successful with his family. That's what's interesting to me because, you know, I was consulting a guy last month and he had been married for like 12 years with his woman, right? And they're getting divorced and she's now taking like this and she's taking that. And I was just like, it was just interesting to hear his story and to hear him like, he feels like he's failed. Do you know what I mean? He feels like he's failed and he's no longer a success because in his eyes, and a lot of the time when we're young, we get told, oh yeah, have a family, white picket fence, woman, children, blah, blah, blah. And so in his eyes, that was his version of success. And now it's kind of crumbled.
On the flip side, there's a lot of men that don't care about all that though.
Yeah,
There's a lot of men that burn their
Maybe 'cause
entire
he's older.
family. No, I'm saying there's a lot of men of all ages that burn their entire family down for career.
Yeah.
But then you're saying, because it's interesting, like I read a book once about people on their deathbeds and like the advice that they'd give to other people. And loads of people talk about like, the thing that they wish they'd changed is like family and that
Spending more time with
not necessarily family like wife and kids, but like that investment in their people around them, right? And I think it's interesting that you raised that point, right? Because earlier you were talking about living vicariously through
your children,
and
yeah.
through family, and that idea. And I think like, I love what you were saying about like the idea of where we get those ideas from, because I think that's super interesting. Like when we think about where those ideas of success come from, like you were saying that you saw your family and you realized that's not what I want. Whereas you're saying that for a lot of the guys that you consult, they were taught what success was and then they aspired to that kind of success and either made it or didn't make it. Like for you guys, where did that come from? Where was it birthed, like your idea of success?
I think a lot of it's birthed through your family as well. Like a lot of it's birthed through influence and a lot of it's birthed through the things that you see as well. Like what is told to you, what is success. Now I think success for a man is have a load of women and have a lot of money.
What was you just about to say, you man?
I was about to say bitches, but like, have a load of women and have a load of money. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, the Andrew Tate type
Is that not still a bar of success for the men here?
I think when I was younger, that's all I cared about. But as you grow up, I can.
What, bitches and money?
Literally, yeah.
Do you know how it changes through the ages?
When I was very young, I did. I think now the older you're growing up, though, you really realise like connection with real people, conversations with real people. I don't go out much anymore.
What about,
I see men.
Saeed? Because you're young still, right?
Yeah,
like
I'm still in that. Like,
is
phase.
that
Yeah,
it for you, or is it something different?
So you know, I was talking about how I was talking obviously from like a more self point of view, right? Okay, so it can change growing up as you age, of course. Obviously, when you're younger, it's basically all material. And as I'm transitioning now, it's becoming more about what do I like, and then it might become family, right? As you pass a certain point, as you might have a child, yeah.
Wow.
So it's,
No, I was gonna say I see men do this thing where they're like, yeah, it's just not about the girls. It's just not about the girls. As he's still putting on his clothes to go to the girls.
Yeah, man.
Like man say, oh yeah, it's not about. I've been there, done that, but you're still doing it.
It's interesting because
It's
as a
validation,
man,
isn't
yeah, it's interesting because essentially biologically, like we like to attract the opposite sex. Do you know what I mean?
I saw this
Like,
thing that
it's just
said
biological.
men, and not that I agree with it, but I saw this thing that said that men are they earn their value and women are born with their value.
Yes, men earn their value.
You think that's true?
100%.
What does that mean? What does
So
that
like
mean?
women, like I guess the idea that women intrinsically have value, whereas men in the world
got
like, are
graft for it.
forced.
Do you know how that shows up? Guys have to have either money, status, or power, generally, for women to be attracted to them. Because there are men who don't have money, status,
Sounds like
or
we
power.
need to raise
No,
our
no,
standards.
listen, a lot of people have said those three, but from the conversations that I've had or with women as well, is security. Does that translate into money, power, and
yeah, security definitely translates to all those.
100%.
If
And
not,
also
if
you
someone
can't.
feels safe, because even like them hench guys or whatever,
Yeah.
a lot of girls go to them. They may not have money or power, but they
have power.
But they have a sense of
They have that
security.
power.
What about for gay guys who are like that, like for guys that are not interested in women, or like guys that don't want, or not even necessarily gay guys, like asexual guys who are celibate, guys who don't want to be in relationships, like because it sounds like a lot of what we're saying is like
Masculine,
value
feminine
comes from
I don't know.
validation from women.
I literally don't know.
I
don't know what's going on over there, but
that's
I can't.
interesting, isn't it?
But
I wonder how they measure success if it's not through that lens.
Well, I genuinely feel like perhaps they have a lot less of those issues.
maybe.
Potentially, but for me, I feel like a lot of what is going on with men and how we feel towards women is like, it's like we did that. We've created a value. For instance, I don't think men do what they do for women. I think men do what they do for men. I think men get girls for men.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a status thing.
It's a status thing.
When it's like
What do you mean men get girls?
yeah.
Let me explain. I can explain. Let me just explain. I'll just speak. Like, if I'm linking 5 girls, it don't mean nothing if I don't tell them and them.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more with you, mate. I couldn't agree more. When I was back in the day,
status thing, yeah.
honestly, back in the day when I was younger and I used to play around, I've been on hundreds of dates, right? I used to walk in the office.
how many dates have you been?
Hundreds of dates,
I've been
yeah.
on hundreds, mate. I've been on plenty of dates, yeah. And this is it, mate. I've got a good routine, don't you always worry. I'll teach you boys a thing or two, no, I'm kidding. But it's like, it was though, you get the validation from telling your boys, mate, last night was fucking sick, you won't believe she stayed over, all this shit. And
But isn't it both?
No. Did you ever tell? did you ever tell them? Oh yeah, I had sex with her again.
As in, what do you mean?
I continue to see her.
You know what? It's never that.
It's both.
It's never that.
I tell you why it's both. Because a man's ego gets fed when he knows he pleases a woman.
Yeah, so true.
So I'm saying it's both. So when
If you ask women, I'm sure they'll tell you that. No, that's not.
Hang on,
from a man's point of view.
But from a man's point of view, he knows that for him, he's like, I can please 5 women. Right? Yes, he goes to tell his boys, yeah? But also for his own ego gets fed because he's like, in his thinking, I got this one, that one. He's got his own ego.
But he is also a man, so he did it for men.
For instance, he done it for himself first.
Yeah, what I'm saying, but he didn't please the girl for the girl.
So
He pleased the girl for himself.
For himself, yeah.
Who is also a man.
Oh, so you're saying him being the man?
Men do things for men.
Or just say they do it for themselves.
No, not just for
I
themselves.
agree with you on that. That's what I was going to ask.
He does it for himself.
If the men weren't involved in the conversation, would you still well, would men
course.
still do
Because
that?
there's a validation. You're like, we talk about validation earlier on.
Sorry.
Sorry.
You guys are bringing
Sorry.
up you guys are bringing up several different things, right?
go on.
Yeah.
It's actually a mixture of all of them.
Mm.
Funnily
Yeah,
enough,
100%.
it's not just one or the
yeah,
other.
absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah.
because obviously you want to please a woman and you want to have a woman, but also at the same
No,
time
that's
you want to
assumption.
rub the ego
Yeah,
a little
rather
bit.
than-
You want to rub the ego a little bit. Oh yeah, I did.
You gotta rub the ego.
Yeah.
I just think it's mainly men do things mainly for
They do it
for the
for themselves.
validation of other men.
that's where the
I
status
think
is.
insecure men do that.
Yes. No, but that
Yeah.
to me
If
that's
you're-
not
if you're-
saying
if you're-
anything because most men are insecure.
You think most men are
Right,
insecure?
yeah.
You don't.
Most people.
Well, hang on, whoa.
I haven't thought about it.
How do you mean most men are insecure?
I don't think all men. I think.
What do you mean most men are
No.
insecure? What, how?
I
Are
don't
you
know.
insecure?
I don't. Yeah.
Okay, in what sense?
In loads of senses.
Did you get what I'm saying?
Did you feel attacked? Not. This
No,
is
no, I
not
just
an
want
attack.
to elaborate.
With a different reaction.
He didn't realize.
I want him to elaborate on how he says that
right.
most men are insecure. In what sense? What do you mean?
In what sense? Are
Yeah,
most
like
men
why?
insecure?
Yeah, what are they insecure about?
About all of the things that we're talking about: money, status, power,
I think that's
respect.
fair.
I agree.
I think
Ego,
that's fair
like-
in the sense
No,
of
I would
like,
actually
if
agree.
we're aspiring to, if our version of success is predicated on having this house, having this car, having these women, having this respect from other men, having this respect from women, then that's like automatically a position where we're not secure because we have to earn it.
Agreed.
So then if that's your version of success as a man, then naturally your state is insecurity until you, and especially if you're the type of man that gets to the top of the mountain and then looks at another mountain, you go straight from success back down into insecurity and back,
Can I
climbing
just-
back up.
That's
So
what
I feel like
constant
it's
cycle.
Can I
That's
add
a
to
constant
that?
cycle.
I really
levels.
resonate with that because, like, when I was younger, I was quite insecure about like how I looked and that. Do you know what I mean? So, and that was.
You're a handsome guy, bro.
Oh, thank you, man. No, but honestly,
Not really.
back in the day, 'cause back in the day, I'm dark skinned.
Allegedly.
Like obviously I'm saying back in the day. I'm still dark skinned, but back in the day I was with my boys and
Back in the day when I was dark skinned. Yeah, go on.
I was with my boys and
bleached
they're all
since then.
light skinned, still black guys and that.
Yeah.
But they used to say those like jokes, oh you're black and this, that. But I used to give it back. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't quiet. I used to give it back and still have banter, but deep down it sowed like a
hurts, yeah.
seed,
Yeah.
and that caused an insecurity to the fact that it displayed in a way that was maybe like when a girl started to get interested in me, I was like,
Why?
Nice.
I was like, yeah,
For real, yeah.
it wasn't for real. But then I then wanted to just get with different girls, but that was a massive insecurity. And then obviously telling the boys and da 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 da.
Yeah.
But as I've grown older,
Would you say
I don't need that.
humans in
but
general are insecure then?
Sorry?
Like, humans
Yeah.
in
I don't
general are
think it's.
insecure,
I don't
aren't
think
they?
it's explicitly a
male
male
thing.
thing. Because I think in that same thing that you were saying about women intrinsically having value, like I think actually that standard that we measure their value on breeds insecurity
Yes,
for them as well.
100%.
So even when they do appear to be that type of woman, they still might not feel like that, and they're still trying to prove that to other people because that's their version of success. Or maybe we haven't asked that question, right? Is success different for men and
That's
for
what I was gonna
women?
say. Where I
I
think
don't know, but check this here. Intrinsically as well, right?
why are we using this word so much?
Yeah,
Let's use it in the conversation.
But yeah. Drop it in there.
It's a word of the day.
Are women part of your success?
Say that again, sorry.
Are
Are women
part
part of your success?
Yeah. Attaining women get.
for me,
You say
no.
What do
women
you
or
mean?
a
What do you
woman?
mean? What do you mean? What do you mean by
Are
that?
women part of your
Building
success?
families and building
Yes,
families.
yeah.
Oh,
That will lead on
for
to-
me, I'd love to have a family one day. Like, I'd love to have kids. I'd love to have a family.
So the answer is
Well,
no.
so for me, that's part of my success as
You say a woman or women?
women in general.
I'd just being able to have. A
Not
family.
now for me, but at one point, 100%. But just not now. But
'Cause I remember
100% at
when I
one
was
So
point.
you don't want to have a
18.
family or anything?
No, that's not what I mean. I mean just like the pursuit of women. Used to be, that used to be a, that used to be a part of
But
the-
then-
Same as me, mate. I
but
could
then
when I
since
was
you-
younger, all I cared about was chasing girls. I used to go on nights out, and all my first thing was, lads, we're going to pick up a girl tonight.
But now you don't care because they come to you.
But do you see?
No,
but
they
you-
do, but but honestly, with me, it's just like I go out now to have honest, real connection with real people, and I'd rather have a good time with my boys. And I don't give two shades of shit if there's girls in the room. I'm not there chasing and looking for it. Well, when I was younger, I'm very guilty. Hands up. I used to look for it. I'd be like, who's come home with me tonight?
But the thing is, yeah,
I'm
you see
growing
when you
up,
get
I
money,
don't-
status, and
I
power,
don't
right?
thrive off that anymore. I thrive off human connection with real people, conversations like we're
I'm
having
like
now.
that, yeah.
I thrive off this. This
Yeah.
is me being real.
But women are a part and parcel of money, success, and power.
I think-
so. I'm sure for you, women have come around you. More women have come around you now
Key to me.
since you got money, success, and power, right?
I think we're using the word
Yeah.
women to describe a very specific function of a woman, right? Like I think we're saying women when we mean women that we have sex with, or women that are attracted to us, or women that we're attracted to, rather than, because when you ask the question, are women a part of your success? Like for me, well, yeah, my mum factors into whether I view myself as successful.
Yeah, we're not talking about that.
I know, but in
I was
my
also
mind,
talking
I
about
think
your
like
mum.
a
From a standpoint from-
but in my mind, I think, well, obviously women are not just a sexual object for me to consume.
Yeah.
They're also part of the community that helps me to
were
value
they
my
ever?
success.
Were they
but
ever?
yeah, when they were that, yeah, I think that's quite normal in our society that men would view that as a sign or a marker, like you were saying, of success,
marker,
right?
yeah.
That we say, oh, if I can get these girls, then I am successful, and I can tell my boys that I did it, or I can prove to the man them that it's happened, or my parents, when I walk into the party, my family will be like, oh, I see you, nephew, or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like all of those things are things that really happen. Not your family. Most of those things are things that really happen.
When you were
but-
20.
Yeah, exactly. But I think there's something interesting here, right? Like through this whole conversation, it seems like what we've established is that this idea of success is something that evolves. And I love that point that you made earlier, right? About like success at one point being one thing and then at another point being something very different.
So it can
and
change.
later on in life,
It
it
can
might
just
change
change.
into something else. And that feels quite healthy to me.
What I don't like about that is I don't like the idea of changing my idea of success because I failed at the other one.
No,
so
no,
I feel,
oh,
so I
yeah,
feel like there's a
sorry.
lot of men that they've now repositioned the money one because they didn't get it.
They didn't make the
So then they start going on tirades of money's not that important,
Yeah.
material things are not this, but the real reason you're saying that is because you didn't. I would actually take that message more from a man who made it.
And maybe that then means that idea of success is about the security inside. Because I think what you're talking about is the masquerade. Do you know what I mean? What you're talking about is the projection of like, I didn't do this, so now it's not that, it's this. Rather than, I've achieved the, what do they call it in Coach Carter, the ever elusive victory within. Do you know what I mean? Like that sense of like, I'm all right, like I've done it, that sense of like, I'm all right, I've done a good job. And maybe for us as men, I don't know, maybe that's not the conclusion, but it feels like we're all acknowledging that like that idea of success, like you said, when you have a family, becomes something different.
So is success the same for women and men? And I think look, success is final. Failure is not fatal. It's just the continuous journey, I think.
For both men and women?
Both men and women, yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's that journey. I think that's the journey.
It's dependent upon the individual. There are some women that care about. What I would say is that I believe women have more of a luxury to not care about success in terms of materials and finances. They have more of a luxury to not care. I'm not saying that they don't care or that they won't go after things, but I don't think most men are walking around thinking, well, if all fails, I'll marry a rich girl.
I think it gets down to choice. At the end of the day, success is choice and freedom.
Yeah, I think my view on that one is like that success is different for men and women when they're playing the game. Do you know what I mean? And like society has constructed a very different game for men and a very different game for women. And so for us to succeed as men, it looks very different to what it means for women to succeed as women. But then once you realise you're playing the game, if you opt out of it, then I think success becomes the same thing for everyone.
I
Do you know
agree
what I
with
mean?
that.
Which would be what?
Well, in terms of
Which would be what?
In terms of that inner satisfaction and that inner peace,
Inner
and
peace.
that peace of mind, and that evolution of like goals and aspirations and self-actualization. I think all of those things are like.
It all comes back to that root cause, that
Inner self.
inner self, what are you happy for? It comes back to that
most
for both
important-
genders.
It's
But
the
it
most
is
important.
different. It is definitely different. Yeah, the way society is constructed is.
My guys, thank you for having a conversation with us, man. I feel like this is like a.
It's wholesome?
Yeah, it feels wholesome. Wholesome is a good word. It felt wholesome.
We're all still friends, yeah?
Let's see.
More or less. It's been insightful.
Yeah.
It's been insightful. I think everyone's kind of shared their personal experiences and what's kind of defined that, and I think that's beautiful. But,
There you go.
yeah, man.
Amen.